How's it going, gamers? After playing a bunch of games with this deck, I've been recalibrating my opinion on Poliwrath EX a little bit. What I had initially written off as rare candy copium, I've really warmed up on with this particular deck list that appeared in our new decks roundup earlier this week. In particular, Lucario lets Poliwrath EX crack for 160 points of damage in a single blow, letting you clean out even things like Darkrai when they have a cape attached, and Mantike, in addition to Lucario, giving this deck list a prize mapping of 1-1-2 in a number of our games felt really clean as well. Having this prize mapping also meant that in the games where I didn't find my rare candy early, I had more turns to draw towards either the candy or the Poliwrath as an out to get my finisher online. And once we have Poliwrath set up, dealing 140 to 160 every single turn on 180 HP stage 2 gives you a lot of staying power, especially in tandem with our copy of Lily to occasionally give us a little bit more sustain. If you enjoy seeing competitive off-meta decks like this tested out in Pokemon Pocket, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any of the other ones we'll be showcasing here. If you like this particular list, make sure you smash the button on this video. For the rest of the day, have fun with this one. I wish Dark Tito would go away. I'd say be very careful what you wish for. Because Dark Tita going away very likely means that they power crept the game in some massive way. So I'd be careful. Be careful on that wish. If we top deck a Lucario next turn, we can clear this in one here, actually. Because it's weak to fighting. And we'll be able to jab for 40 plus 20. Alright, didn't low roll on that. I think we're just letting the little tyke die here. I think with the baby draw, we're gonna go ahead and just put this on here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put the Riolu with the water energy up on it, so that way we have the energy to retreat from this and put Poliwrath up. If we top deck a Lucario, this actually does 180 to a copy of Crobat. Because you'll do 140 with the water, and then weakness is 160, and then Lucario is 180. Are their last two cards Candy Crobat? Is the question. They are not, which I think means they're cooked here, yeah? We top decked our stage 1 to boot. And they only have a single point here, which means that even if they have a Cyrus or a Sabrina, we're not in any danger. And I guess we'll throw this on here, and then we'll crack them. Like, even if they have a Crobat, like I said, they're taking 180 with weakness, so I don't know what their out is here. Yeah. are set up and ready to knock them down. Yeah, clean first game. We're going second. I just need a baby tadpole. I think Pocket's been killing it since the Buzzwole expansion. I think the Buzzwole expansion was a good set overall, but it was a little bit parasitic at the time that it released. If that makes sense. I think they did a good job power level wise with that set. It just it basically added like 1.5 decks to the game, right? I think one of their biggest design misses recently is Ho-Oh and Lugia feeling so mid, and Lugia not being playable without Ho-Oh. Oh, gamer, you should check the new decks roundup today. There was actually a Lugia deck that wasn't playing Ho-Oh. That posted a tournament result here. Ooh, come on, give me Lucario. Let's punish this. Give me a Lucario deck. Nice. No baby, what's it called, but... Am I playing this Riolu out and giving them extra damage on this? I don't think so. Getting the first point here against their deck with a bunch of EXs is a big deal. If I don't play this out, they shouldn't be able to kill this turn. We get punished by a red card or Mars a little bit, but... I don't want to give them the option to go bench, clear Lucario. Alright, if we find a Tadpole, I think we retreat to the Mantike to set it up. Come on! Hit my 66%er. Please! Nice. Okay. So we go this, and I'm going to play this out to make us better against a, piece of hand hate. Get some value out of that water energy we threw on there earlier. We got by Rare Candy Greninja Cyrus. They need to clear our Tadpole out here. All right, no Cyrus, no Mars. We could get red carded out of our evolution. Okay, and I'm through both my researches, unfortunately, so I need a little bit of variance here. Two out of nine. This gets us a Mantike. I think it's just hope to spike the Candy next turn. I think we're just like hoping to dodge the Cyrus Candy Greninja. We'll go energy here. Retreat this to Mantike. Mantike put the energy back on this. It's unfortunate it took us so long to find the Poliwag. Okay, that means no Cyrus, and we're a little better than 1 in 4 to find our candy next turn. Alright, hit me, dealer. That'll do, pig. That'll do. $60 for 3 is big damn, chat. Big damn. Big damages. They're on the list. We'll get to them eventually. All right, we just need a tadpole. Gosh, I think with the tadpole draw, I actually just don't research here. I think because I have Candy Poliwrath, there's no reason for me to draw up a bunch of cards and they get like red carded or Mars. Their red cards and Mars are so much worse when my researches are in my deck. Now we'll go digging because I'd like to set up the baby for this ideally. And then we'll definitely rare Candy this turn. Yeah, go play this out. So the downside to rare candying now is it means I have to attach another fighting to this turn, but the downside of them being able to get rid of this is just so high. But Splashy Toss can only attach to basic Pokemon, so... Are you gonna take viewer decks anytime soon? I would take a viewer deck if you ask for it in advance. Speaking of... that was a very clean, aggressive draw. So the card games always change, but that's something that's just like, you know, I've been doing this for a decade and a half, goes back to Magic the Gathering forever. Then that's always how people parse their questions. It's always, why aren't you doing this instead of having confidence in being like, you should do this. And this is why. Fellow Mantike enjoyer here. You can tell you were a teacher, yeah. I think another thing that's very true, and it's true in a kind of a sad sort of way, honestly, is you could always tell people in chat who never had a good teacher in their lives when they get defensive when I answer their question with a question. That happens with some frequency, and it's always sad to see, because it's one of those things where all the best teachers you could have are going to answer your questions with your questions. Because asking your students questions encourages them to think about what they are asking, rather than lecturing them and expecting them to memorize a specific point. I think on the Poliwrath draw, I'm gonna Mantike the Poliwag. That's close, though. It's really sad I didn't draw the Lucario to be able to knock this out. That probably would have been game-winning. Yes, maybe Pokemon do not have weaknesses. They have 30 HP. They don't need weaknesses on top of it. So that's one of those things where, like, from a like VGC standpoint, you're like, it's weird that these don't have weaknesses, but from a game balance standpoint, 30 HP things with weaknesses is just like not remotely tenable. Alright, so with the candy draw, our opponent could high roll us and put all 4 Dragonite hits into this Poliwrath. But if they don't high roll us to an absurd degree, they should be cooked here. The old Knuckle Buster. $80 is a far cry from 140. All right, sometimes average, good enough. And then I'd be really surprised if my opponent has a backup Pokemon that's not just another Dragonite. I assume they don't have time to get that going, so I technically need 2 more points here, but the rating should be on the wall when I take this out. I suppose they could go Dratini this turn and then Pichu onto it, and then like Candy into like a Dragonite EX, maybe? That's a pretty specific combination of cards. Poliwag on the opener into Fire Eevee. Could be a Charizard deck from Forever Ago, but could also be like Flareon Eevee box stuff. Mantike is lovely. I don't have either of my pieces to evolve this, though, which is unfortunate. But no, I never get notifications for Jeff YouTube video in the morning. Make sure you turn the bell on. YouTube really doesn't promote any of my content on any of my channels. I don't do a lot of the stuff that feels scummy to get YouTube to really favor you. I can't bring myself to call every deck the best deck or the meta changer or whatever else makes the YouTube masses actually click on them. I think we're just shuffling around here. Did I ever tempo Sabrina? No, probably not. Cause this'll kill it. Make them. They might want to retreat into this anyways, so no reason to Sabrina them into it. Do I want to evolve Lucario? I don't think so. It might be worth Sabrina-ing here so they can't attack with Flareon next turn. Honestly, it might be Sabrina punch them with Riolu. I think is the line. Since they put this one up instead of EX Eevee, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and Splashy Toss again now. Suicune EX, Primarnia EX is on my list of things to try. I've got that one in my deck editor. Just as a generic comment, There's been like 3 comments the last half hour asking me, Jeff, do you plan to play XYZ? The list of decks I intend to try out is like 2 dozen long at this point. To give a deck a fair shake, it takes me 90 minutes to 2 hours to really get a feel for it on the live stream, so basically, eventually yes to basically all the questions that have been generically asked, but it's gonna be a little bit. We play, you know, 10 to 15 hours of Pocket in a week on stream, so it's like 4, 5, 6 decks in a week. I think I want to take this knockout here. I think especially with the Poliwrath draw here, if I take the first point on this Magby, it means Poliwrath is going to get to clean out an EX for the win in a single shot. So I think we clean our first point, we offer a point, and then again, because Lucario's a 1-pointer and Mantyke's a 1-pointer, we have time to draw towards our rare candy to get this online ideally. What do you think they'll make Groudon EX do in this game? I'm really not super familiar with Zoomer Pokemon lore, so I'm not a very good person to ask. What do you think flavor-wise a card's gonna do? Rare candy is obviously a stellar draw, but second Riolu would also be okay. Groudon's a Zoomer Pokemon. Anything newer than Gen 2 is a Zoomer Pokemon. Piece of candy. You call Groudon a Zoomer Pokemon? That bro is like 20 years old. Wait till you learn how old Zoomers are. Zoomers are pretty old these days, Evers. I'm gonna Google it. Yeah, mid to late 90s for Zoomers gamers. Zoomers are pushing 30. $180 is so much HP. I actually think people that try and discount Gen 2 as not being the initial batch of Pokemon are silly. Because there's so many really closely interconnected Pokemon between Gen 1 and Gen 2. They are basically a single generation in my mind. We've had pretty good diversity on the ladder so far this morning. A lot of people playing a lot of different things. And I'm gonna go ahead and just fill our bench up here. Get that splashy toss on the Poliwag. I'm happy my rainbows feel playable. It's always sad when you hit a sweet piece of art in this game and you're like, oh, it's attached to a card I can never play with reasonably. Have a piece of candy, ma'am. Piece of candy, please. I could definitely be persuaded that there should be a copy of Pokemon Communication in this deck. And honestly, it feels like the Poliwrath is winning the game so commandingly, and a lot of the time I could see cutting the Lily for a communication. Maybe we'll try that in our last couple of games this morning, Josh. That was Eric that said that. All right, our window is closing here on finding the piece of candy. Opponent is set up now. There's the piece of candy. I don't know that playing another basic out here matters. Speaking of Lily, this could be a game where the Lily matters, yeah? Because the Zera is going to hit me to 130, and then if they have a full bench for the Arceus, it clears. Because they had enough time to get set up. Yeah, I guess we're actually cooked, huh? One, two, three, four, five. They have another basic. I could retreat and jab with the Riolu, and then hope that they don't have Cyrus, and that I top deck Lucario or Lily. That's probably the line. They definitely have another basic in their deck. The question here is, are they more likely to have the next basic, or are they more likely to have the next basic, or are they more likely to have the first Cyrus? Now, honestly, I think that's kind of close. Like, they're almost assuredly playing one Cyrus. And this is a spot where I think I'm happy with my play. I think there's a chance we're dead either way. But they hadn't played. They only played one Pokeball too, so I'd expect they had at least two more basics between all of their cards. All right, this is a lovely opener here. We've got the Mantike. We've got the baby. I just need a piece of candy. And again, this is one of those spots where we're gonna Pokeball before we research, because we're looking for not a basic Pokemon. We're looking for that piece of candy to get our Poliwrath going. All right, and there it is. And I'm gonna fill my bench here. Not because I want to Poliwrath in the long term, but because making my hand smaller makes us better in the face of a copy of Red Card or Mars here. Hearing you quantify 1 + 1 is 2 in a base 10 system means this man has been actually too many times. I know my audience. Let's just say that. I know my audience. I just want to let you know, Frozen Crow, because YouTube doesn't let you know when you've been banned, that I've banned you from my channel because while the Democrats are not perfect, and Donald, I'm banning you too for saying both sides are too extreme, because saying both sides are too extreme is a pro-Republican stance, because while the Democrats are not perfect, the Republicans are the only one dismantling higher education. The Republicans are the only ones denying vaccines. The Republicans are the only one deploying the National Guard against the wishes of governors and against the wishes of the people and mayors in charge of these towns. So yes, while the Democratic Party is not perfect and the Democratic Party has a lot of meaningful things they could improve on to help make people's lives better that they're not currently doing, the Democratic Party is not remotely comparable to the very real fascism and anti-intellectual bullshit that is going on in the United States right now. And you are a useful idiot if you say both sides are the same when someone like myself brings up the very real stark things that are going on in the United States right now. And those types of things and those types of comments are the reason why we're in the mess we're in right now. Because too many people who think that they're an enlightened centrist being fair to both sides by saying both sides are bad have led us to this point where Donald Trump is doing the things that he is doing, and the entire Republican Party in Congress is complicit behind him, allowing him to do it. Because don't for a minute think that Donald Trump is unique or the only problem here. Because if at any point in their pathetic lives, the Republicans in Congress wanted to stop him from what he is doing, they could. But they don't want to because they are complicit and they want it just as much as he does. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And before I move on from this topic, people, especially people outside the United States, and maybe there's less of them now that they see what's going on in this term, they're like, Jeff, why do you care and why do you talk about this on stream? Last week, there were grade schoolers that were gunned down in Minneapolis. And I have grade schoolers, and I'm a human being who's capable of empathy and caring about other people. And we're in the mess that we're in because of these people. And it's not just politics, it's people's lives, and it's children's lives, and it's people that I care about's lives. So, as the eternally old quote goes, you might not care about politics, but politics certainly cares about you. You should give a shit. And that's why on occasion I talk about it while I'm making content. I'm not afraid to push back on the nonsense on stream. Because maybe we're not too far gone to get out of this disaster. If we had more reasonable people that cared about making people's lives better instead of harming people that they don't like, the world would be a lot better place. I wish I didn't consider myself a Democrat, but I just want people to have healthcare without going bankrupt. And I want my kids' schools to be safe. And there's no viable alternative party that's working towards any of those and a variety of other things to make people's lives better. So I'm a Democrat, because it's the only option. Our opponent in this beer match appears to be a little bit salty. So many flavors, and that's the one that they choose. Let's have Poliwrath knock a few more out here before we call it a day. Cam Joe, thank you for the brand new Prime. I appreciate that direct support. It's a big part of why I'm able to do what I do as a job. Thanks for keeping me around. You can't get this salty, chat, when you don't draw your rare candy. It's gonna happen enough. You just gotta like take the L on the chin and go next game. It's just how life is if you're gonna play these decks. One more Knuckle Buster to close them out, huh? All right, I'm going to throw the deck list on screen. This deck list is one card off of the build from the new decks roundup that got posted this morning on the Hoaglandia Pocket channel. I subbed out. There was a copy of Leaf. I subbed it for a copy of X Speed just because I really like to be able to research into X Speed, and all of our things start with a retreat cost of 1. So excuse me. I'm going to take a quick ad roll here.